Good morning. How are you today? I'm in Danbury, Connecticut, working my way back to Virginia. And meantime, in the Senate, it shouldn't surprise us that Moscow Mitch and others are going to drive through, contradict anything they ever said about appointing a new justice to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg following her passing just days ago. It shouldn't surprise us at all that there are no standards and that this is a lawless Republican caucus. The issue that's at center for these people is to choose a candidate. Amy Barrett appears to be a very likely nominee who will sustain their view that a fecundated ovum, which is to say from the moment of conception, it's a person and should be protected, and you cannot have an abortion for any reason. How does Amy, for example, fit that? Should she be the nominee? And the others will have the same characteristics. Well, she believes this, and she spent 13 years at Notre Dame. And you'll find in the resumes of the people, the Federalist Society, some very strong Catholic or evangelical basis. You'll hear them say that they're fine with precedent, although they will find exceptions to get around the precedent. And this Amy is going to be no exception to that. And one of the ways that they interpret the law is the Originalist school of thought. Now, let's talk a little bit about the law. First of all, the law is going back to Griswold against Connecticut, when they tried to tell married couples they couldn't use birth control, and it was a crime. Justice Douglas wrote an opinion that says there was a penumbra, like that shining part around the moon at night, that protects individuals, the right to privacy, the right to be let alone. During certain periods, we found this was true in Roe v. Wade. They spent a lot of time researching it and decided that there were periods that a woman could rightly assert herself, and that there were some encumbrances as they approached term, if you will. So they want to appoint this woman to the Supreme Court. And, she's a woman and she would replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg only in the fact that her gender is the same, not in the fact that her view is the same. And we saw the same thing when Thurgood Marshall was replaced by Justice Thomas. It was a man that didn't believe in the civil rights and liberties that Thurgood Marshall did, nor will whomever they try to substitute Ginsburg believe in those things as well. Now, going back to what would an originalist mean? An originalist is really a school of thought which is bogus as a matter of law, because the thought is, what would, the original founders, men, have thought about this subject? And then once we find that out, then we put that in place. Well, this was really a school of thought to combat the Earl Warren Court, which had these interpretations, including those in Griswold, including those in Roe v. Wade. And so that's what we're fighting in terms of the content of the debate. The Democrats have indicated they may just make it an issue. I think that's a mistake. I think that we should be thinking of how we fight this as you would in terms of asymmetric. Okay, they have the votes in the Senate, we have the votes in the House. What can we do in the House to bring the point home that the Republicans on this and other issues are corrupt? And the answer is we should impeach the president and the vice president, and perhaps Barr, but certainly the president and the vice president, to bring home the point that they are sacrificing the lives of Americans. These people who are so pro-life about fecundated ovum, what do they care about a life and being, an actual life as day by day 1,000 people die? That is the argument. Okay, some say we would lose it in the Senate. Fine. We would lose it in the Senate if we did and put on record every Republican senator, and it would be a campaign issue running right up till November the 3rd. Now, this aggressive campaign, will they do that? I don't know. What can we do to correct this? I think we win the Senate, we win the House, we win the White House, and what we do is we pass legislation. We add to the court a new member for each of the inappropriate people who were appointed. For example, Gorsuch, for example, Kavanaugh, for example, Amy Barrett, if they succeed at that, and thereby balance their error immediately by placing another member to the court to counteract the unjust, inappropriate, and wrong-headed stance they took when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. So, okay, that's it. I'm off my soapbox. You can agree or disagree with me. But for one thing or another, we need people who act. Talk is cheap. We need to fight. This is important to fight. We can be too empathetic. We have to be warriors. We have to be like Hubert Humphrey called himself the happy warrior in a very difficult election in 1968. We have to be happy warriors who go and fight for what matters to us. Okay, that's it. I'm off my soapbox. I'll see you when I'm back in Virginia with more verdant surroundings. Bye-bye.